Ooh, what up, though? Reach for the sky, boy. Unfortunately, the skies have gained one of Sandy Fork's finest. Yes, Chris, that's correct. If all the reports are true, and it looks as though they are, rest in peace to one, Jay Briscoe. Hey, yo, what up, though, Brock? Yeah, man, there's no other way that we could start this show. Definitely not the way that we planned to start this show. Um, but I was definitely a fan of Jay Briscoe. For any of you guys who are watching, feel free to throw in any Jay Briscoe memories, your favorite Briscoe brothers memories, and all those kind of things. I got the pleasure to meet Jay here in Dearborn at a Ring of Honor show alongside of our homie and past guest of the show, Shane Taylor. Um, Dude, he couldn't have been a cooler guy. And I'm not going to sit here and speculate and act like I know or anything because I don't know anything. All I know is that a guy who I have enjoyed watching for a lot of years has passed away. And us being a wrestling and combat sports show, I felt that there's no better way for us to start other than to give our thoughts and a tribute to one Jay Briscoe, our favorite Briscoe brothers memories. Like I said, I'm not going to be one of these people who comes on here and tries to act like I know shit. I don't know anything about what happened other than the fact that it's rumored that it's a car accident. But I want to come on here, share some Briscoe brothers, memories here, and pay a little tribute to the Briscoe brothers. So, J-Bone, I'll let you start. What are your quick thoughts, man? And what are some of your memories of the Briscoe brothers?
Man, first of all, rest in peace. Condolences to his family and friends, man. Just sad, the saddest news you could come onto a show with. You know what I mean? Just life's bigger than wrestling, dude. We always say stuff like that, but the wrestling world suffers tonight. That's for sure. But as far as the memories of him, man, just I think in most recent memory we got to check out GCW and the scaffold match, that tag team match, which was a lot of fun,
At
man.
Harpo's.
I got a cool painting on the wall of the Briscoe brothers, so that's pretty cool. But I mean, what more can you say, man? I mean, the mere backbone of Ring of Honor, tag team wrestling in our era. You know what I mean? Just countless. Was it 13-time tag team champions or something like that? Just title.
No, they just won 14, I believe.
14
I believe
times.
that was 14, and then they just had that banger with FTR and won the Ring of Honor titles back from them.
Yeah.
That dog collar match was insane.
Yeah.
People were calling that match of the year. And these are guys who were in Ring of Honor at 18 years old, dude, when Ring of Honor was just starting. When you still had a young Bryan Danielson, you had CM Punk, you had Samoa Joe, you had all these guys, Tyler Black, AJ Styles. They've been there through them all. And then for them to come back now, you've got the resurgence of Ring of Honor. They win the titles off of FTR. For this to happen is just crazy. But I just want to talk about some of our favorite Briscoe memories. Like you said, they were some of the pillars of Ring of Honor, dude. But seeing the list and who's who of teams that they faced in Ring of Honor, man, and without them, they were the one team that really stayed in one spot when you think about that. For whatever the reason, whether that be loyalty to Ring of Honor or anything else, man, they were the one team that was synonymous with Ring of Honor. They faced everybody. Kenny King and Rhett Titus. You had, any team you want to talk about from Ring of Honor, dude, they faced them. Like you said, 13-time, 14-time world champions. They're the pillars of that. You talk about the stuff they've done with the Dudleys. Jay was a world champion too. Let's not brisk over the fact that he won the Ring of Honor World Championship. I loved some of the feuds that we got to see him in as Ring of Honor World Championship. There you go. Best promos from the Briscoes. Best promos because they were real, dude. They're out there on a chicken farm just talking shit, running their mouth, doing their thing. Like I said.
Yeah, and that was no gimmick. That was no gimmick. You know what I mean? That was the Briscoes, man. That's who they were. They were the realest it could be, man. And just like you said, in the past 20 years for especially tag team wrestling, a lot of times you don't get to see those tag teams really gel and stick together. Those guys were blood, man, and everywhere they went, you knew they were there. They were a big deal. So It's an unfortunate loss, man. It's actually devastating to the wrestling world. It's very, very sad.
Yeah, since me and Kyle had our little conversation about it earlier when the news had kind of first, I guess, became a thing. Uh, yeah, I had done my digging through the Twitter world and stuff, man, and it's really it's taken some people back, man. I mean, quite a few people, including I believe, wasn't it you, J Bone, that named them tag team of the year last year?
Did I have? I think I might have. I know I had them in my my war games, my fantasy war games team.
Yeah, but either way,
You
they
did.
made such a huge impact over last year's kind of wrestling scene, I guess you can say. And to Kyle's point, like for them to kind of find, not that they weren't already a huge deal, but for them to kind of transition their success into a broader viewing audience, I guess you could say. And then for, of course, unfortunate circumstances to happen now, man, it's terrible timing, and you got to feel for them, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been, and here's the thing, like they had just won the titles back, even we don't know what Ring of Honor is going to live to be in AEW yet, but I don't know about you, J-Bone, but I've enjoyed the hell out of all the pay-per-views so far. They just announced that they're relaunching the Honor Club platform and all that stuff, and who better to be the pillar of your tag team division there than them? And I mean, the reason why I was so excited to see them on this platform with AEW, even if it was still under the Ring of Honor banner, is that, like you said, Corey, now it's to a much broader spectrum. And man, it's just such a bummer to think that is going to be the lasting memory. What are some of your favorite matches from the Briscoes, J-Bone?
Oh man, like I said, in most recent memory, dude, you got to go to the dog collar match. Like, what a unbelievable match with FTR. Two of the best tag teams in the world at the time. I mean, not even at the time, but like the past 20 years, right? Like you said, the legacy of the Briscoes is just incredible, dude. And then the match I think this one's probably my favorite, only because the only time I seen them live was at GCW. And like you said,
that shit was badass.
Seeing a wrestling match on TV, seeing some of your favorite guys on TV is one thing. It's cool, but once you see it live and the thrill of that shit live, it's a different
dude. And level. They were coming out to give me back my bullet at Harpo's, bro. Corey, you were there for that. What were your thoughts on the Briscoes at the scaffold, and what were your thoughts on the way they just tore that bitch apart?
I mean, my biggest memory of that night was just watching the setup of the ring and stuff. And to your point, Kyle, to see kind of the reaction, because of course, me being the MMA guy and stuff, I'm far less familiar. I know who the Briscoes are because you guys talk about them all the time on the show and stuff, and I've seen plenty of their highlights through just kind of casually following. But for the crowd reaction to be what it was in that small of a venue, man, and the match that they put on, the whole setup to that match was just wild with all the tables and shit that they had just stacked up into the ring. It was just, it was a wild experience for sure.
And then do you remember Uncle Ned almost got killed, bro? Like when they came off the scaffold and he had to be like right under it. And here comes the Briscoes down off the fucking scaffold. And I'm like, why are you standing right under the scaffold?
Right.
I just don't understand why that was necessary, but that's Uncle Ned. But with that being said,
countless matches though, man.
Right. And for me, obviously off rip, you got to talk about the most recent one with the dog collar match. The dog collar match that they just had with FTR, dude, was a banger. You heard past guest of this show, Dave LaGreca, talk about it and saying that he thought it was match of the year in 2022, which I'm sure he'll talk about on the Busties tomorrow. But dude, like that match, and we're talking about in December. We've already had 11 months plus of action. They have this match and it's immediately considered as match of the year, but that's not even, I mean, we can just go down the list of bangers. I mean, ring the bell. I was there in Dallas for the match that they had at the Impact Multiverse, which was insane. And then they had GCW the next day. You had last year at Final Battle where they took on past guests of this show, Mike Bennett and Matt Taven of the Kingdom, which that in and of itself was a banger. I mean, dude, you could literally go down the list and to give, for those who maybe didn't watch Ring of Honor or know as much about a Jay Briscoe, I mean, you talk about WWE, right? What's the big story we're talking about right now? Sammy Uso or Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Well, in another life, there was Kevin Steen and El Generico, who we still can't confirm may or may not be Sami Zayn, but the Briscoes fought them in Ring of Honor too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you line them up, you talk about tag teams, Rock and Roll Express,
The Motor City Machine Guns.
the Dudley Boys. I mean, you go down the list. I mean, I've got a list here in front of me of some of their best matches. I mean, CM Punk and Colt Cabana. I mean, dude, the Briscoes and the Machine Guns. You got Jimmy Rave and John Walters. Generation Next. You've got, I mean, dude, you've got a million different matches you can name on here. Ladder Wars and everything else. They're in the fabric of what Ring of Honor is, even long after he's going to be gone. My thoughts and prayers go out to their family and their kids, and because we all know how big a family men they were. Dude, and then where do you think and then for Mark, I mean, you guys have been a tag team for 20 plus years, dude. Yeah. Like, where does he pick up and go from here? Or does he just retire altogether? I mean, it's just a wild thing to think. And it's just, I mean, it's never good to see anybody die, man. Like, I'm not saying like death is like any better when it's one person versus another, but man, it's just such a sad thing to see when you like, and I only judge people off the experiences I've had. And all I can say is that the times I've gotten to meet Jay Briscoe and when I've gotten to meet him and Mark when we were in Dallas, couldn't have been cooler people. Right. So whatever you want to say about Twitter and tweets people put out and whatever, when I met the Briscoes, they were dope. For my money and my entertainment and seeing them live, they kicked ass every time I saw them live. And every time I watched them on pay-per-view, I left there saying, hot damn, they ripped that bitch up. So Agreed. All I'm going to say right now is hats off to Jay Briscoe. Godspeed, brother man. All I can say is I hope you're finding rest on the other side. Again, thoughts and prayers to his family and his brother and the wrestling business as a whole and anybody who knew him, because, man, that's just a tragedy for anybody to die. But to die like that and so sudden is tough. For the both of you guys, any last thoughts on the whole Jay Briscoe situation before we pivot?
Man, go ahead, Corey. You go ahead.
Always sucks to see people kind of. It always sucks to lose people when they're in their active prime, when they're really at the peak of their success, whether, you know, whatever given circumstance is. And I feel like we've seen so much of that in the past couple months, man. And it just really sucks to see so many people on both ends of the sphere kind of, you know, take a hit, man. It just hurts the heart, man. You build up, you know, a real fandom of a lot of these guys. And to your point, Kyle, and some of them you meet in person and stuff like that, and usually the personalities live up to expectations and stuff, and it sucks, man.
Yeah, I mean, for me, man, it's just, you know, it's such a tragedy. It's very important for the wrestling community to kind of come together and support, you know, Mark and the family and everybody. It's just it's always good to see a collective support system, you know, especially in such a toxic environment such as wrestling Twitter, you know what I mean? But for something this tragic, you know, for the wrestling community to all just come together as one and, you know, just pay respects. That, I mean, life's too short, man. That is what it is. Life's very short and we don't cherish it enough. That's for damn sure. So all wrestling aside, man, rest in peace to that man. So
yeah, man. And any of you guys that are listening to this, dude, like, you can have your thoughts and opinions on a person, but dude, anything like out of pocket on Twitter and stuff like that, dude, like, now is not the time. Like, keep the comments to yourself, guys. Like I said, all thoughts and prayers to his family. Reach for the sky, boy. And Jay Briscoe, hopefully you are at rest, brother, on the other side.